Hello, and welcome to this week's Top 5. It's the week of March, 16th, 2017. I'm Christina Rees.
And I'm Brandon Zech.
It's spring break for a lot of people. Not for us, but for a lot of people. So we're gonna pick some shows that if people are in big cities or they're passing through smaller places, these are shows that are easy to find, they're family friendly. They're just good spring break shows. I think we did this last year, but we're doing it. It's an obvious thing to do, and it's a servicey thing to do.
So in the spirit of that, number 5 is in Nacogdoches, and it's at the Cole Art Center at the old Opera House in downtown Nacogdoches. But it's a show of Andy Warhol. I never thought I'd see an Andy Warhol show in Nacogdoches, but the exhibition is based around Warhol's Silver Clouds, which are basically big mylar-type balloons that are filled with helium and oxygen and kind of float around through the gallery space. You know, it's a very immersive installation, and this is like prime Andy Warhol factory time.
Yeah, I was going to say, forgive us for picking Warhol and putting it on the top 5, but look, Nacogdoches and the factory are not natural partners. I like the idea that there might be some 11-year-olds who, stumble upon Warhol for the first time when their parents take them to this show and they start to do a little bit of research and, their brains explode in the right sort of way when they start to really look into Warhol and what he was about. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Number 4 this week is at the Museum of Fine Arts. We've reviewed it. Everyone's been buzzing about it. It's Ron Mueck. 13 either huge or small sculptures. None of them are life-size because that's boring. They're either bigger or smaller than life-size.
Of course.
And they're hyper-realistic, and they're weird, and they're a little disturbing and unsettling, and you kind of know what you're getting with Ron Mueck. If you've ever seen one of his sculptures, you've probably loved it. A lot of people love the piece that's in the Fort Worth Modern collection, which is in the show. I've heard that people have actually written to the Fort Worth Modern scolding them when they've taken it off view before.
Oh no! Oh dear! Yeah, I mean, this is sort of spectacle, but with some integrity, I would say, compared to some artists who've been on show in Texas recently. I won't name names, but I don't know how much of this is art. I think that some of his pieces, his earliest pieces, Dead Dad, which was the slightly smaller than life-size Dead Dad, I think it was art.
It does not have Dead Dad, by the way, because they felt that was too widely exhibited.
That's so strange, and that's kind of a shame, but fair enough. And take your kids, I guess. There's going to be a lot of genitalia in the show, so just whatever. However you feel about that, parents. I feel good about it. All right, so number 3 this week is at the Old Jail Art Center in Albany. Might be somewhere you're passing through. So Patrick Kelly, the director there, has put this show together. It's a collage and montage. It's a group show, and it's a really solid list of Texas artists. We know their work. It's Andy Colquitt, Matthew Cusick, John Fraser, Lily Hanson, Luke Harnden, Dana Harper, Lance Lesher, Sean Odell, and Dario Robledo. You can't go wrong with this crew. They know what they're doing with collage and montage, photographs, film, etc. It's just opened, so it's up for a while, but if you happen to be out and about this week, there's a good possibility, then that would be a good show to hit.
Number 2, it opened this past week, and it's Neema Katchadourian, Curiouser at the Blanton. Mm-hmm. So it's a mid-career survey of her work. We put it in our spring preview. We've talked about it a little before. But, it has a little bit of everything. It has some of her seat assignment series, which is where she creates art using only things that she can find on an airplane. It has an accent elimination, which was a video included in the Venice Biennale that the Blanton recently acquired. And it has so many other things. I didn't know that she did these cut mat pieces, or spider web mending pieces where she would mend spider webs with thread.
Yeah. So keep in mind that this is South by Southwest week. In fact, this is the music week of South by Southwest, so it's going to be incredibly crowded in Austin. I guess if you live in Austin, you're stuck in Austin, you want to do something that's not about going to see bands, this might be a good thing to do. Are there bands anymore? Is it bands? Is music bands? I don't know. I guess so. It's South by Southwest.
A single guy behind a behind a touchpad.
Exactly. Number 1 this week is at the DMA. I've got to confess, I haven't seen it yet. It just opened, but it's a big deal. It's called Mexico, 1900 to 1950. Diego Rivera, Frida Kahlo, Jose Clemente Orozco, and the Avant-Garde. It was co-organized with the Grand Palais in Paris. This is the only U.S. stop for it. It's 200 artworks by a lot of artists. A lot of the work that was being cultivated during the Mexican Socialist Revolution, a lot of this dialogue happening between artists in Mexico and European artists. There are a lot of women artists in this show, women artists whose work has not been brought into the U.S. Very frequently before. I know that the big people-pleasing aspect of this is the Frida Kahlo stuff. A lot of this hasn't been brought in. This is a big deal. It'll be crowded this week, but it'll also be worth it.